And now, we've come to the portion of our show where we have to ask, what just happened? We can't believe it either, but let's take a look back at the insanity that was this week and look ahead to what will make us facepalm next week. This is What Just Happened on the Dean Obeidallah Show. Take it away, Dean.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live Friday, November 2nd, and it is the third hour of the show on Friday. So what do? We do What Just Happened. And I always have two great guests, a comedian and someone who's a pundit or a political person. Today we got two great people. We have Leah Bonnema, comedian who's been on Access TV, Gotham Comedy Live, IFC, you name it, she's been on. We've done comedy together here in New York for many, many years. Nice to see you in studio, my friend.
Great to see you. I was going to say we've swapped spots a lot.
At the comic strip, I'm like, can you do this one? And sitting next to our friend Xorje Olivares, who everybody knows from his own show on this very channel, which will be tomorrow, Affirmative Reaction from noon? It's noon?
Yeah, noon to 2.
Noon for like 9 hours. It's like it doesn't stop. It's like a telethon.
Keeps going.
And he's
it's
also
like the
producer on
caravan
John's
just can't
show.
Stop me.
How's Fugel saying?
Fugel saying is doing well. He is in LA because he's doing the final show for the Sexy Liberal Blue Wave
exactly
shows that he's been going on with Stephanie Miller and who's it? Martin Sheen? Michael Sheen?
Martin Sheen.
Martin
Sheen and Martin, their buddy.
Yes.
Buddy with Steph.
Yes.
Stephanie's got a picture of her and Martin Sheen and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So he's doing that show tomorrow, so he's been in LA.
Let's start off with a little humor. Is Lauren there? Did she walk out? Lauren, let's play. This is from Colbert last night. Every now and then I'll play some clips just to have some fun, to remind me that I can be, what laughter sounds like. I have everything. Leah, you don't see it.
No. Why are you even looking at that?
I say, no, I've got, just so everyone, I tell everyone here, we've started putting Fox on for about 2 months ago. I am obsessed with Fox News. Every commercial I stare at, I look at Tucker Carlson, and I want to headbutt him for an entire hour. He is and I'm not advocating violence.
Why are Democrats so angry?
No, and the right and the left here. Okay, here's Colbert from last night, clip number 1, a little humor so we can have some fun. Clip 1, please.
Of course, in the run-up to the election, the president has stoked fear of immigrants. But at an official announcement this afternoon, he started by saying he cares about people from other countries.
America is a welcoming country, and under my leadership, it's a welcoming country.
Good plan, Mr. President. Warm up the crowd with a joke. He went on to say that he wanted immigration laws changed.
We do a very good job considering the laws are so bad. They're not archaic. They're incompetent. It's not that they're old. They're just bad.
Unlike you, who is both old and bad.
Colbert is really coming to his own so much during the time of Trump, but that opened with a joke. What a subtle joke by Colbert. Made me laugh. Made you laugh as a comedian.
I laughed right
that
there.
made me laugh at home. I'm like, well, I loved it because it was a subtle joke. It wasn't like, wow, like some of the late night jokes are over that top. What is going on? The racism of Trump. And just before you came in here, I was talking about CNN, Jeffrey Toobin there, and they talked to some staffer of the White House who said, Trump's not talking about the economy because he's bored by it. But early in the show, I opened by going, Trump's not talking about the economy because his real base has not been helped in 2 years. It's undisputed. Second, he knows his base better than anyone. They are moved by bigotry and racism. That's what they want. That's what they cheer. That's what he's giving.
Fear-mongering.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it comes from the fear-mongering, comes the scaring, and the brown people. Used to be the Muslims.
Now it's the Mexicans. Now it's all my people.
Right. So, first of all, what's your reaction? I'm not going to play his ad. It's too many images. Yeah, but it was filled with lies, of course. Mm-hmm. What's your reaction to this absolute garbage we're seeing in the closing days of this?
So the thing that's the scariest is all the conversation having to do with sending the troops to the border, right? So first it went from we're sending 500 troops to the border, and that already is excessive because he earlier sent the National Guard troops, and then that number went to, okay, we're going to send about 1,500. Okay, that's still a crap load of troops that you're sending for no reason because you're making it sound like this caravan is just miles away from the border, and they're not. They're literally just passing the Guatemalan-Mexico border. And then this week we find out it's going to be 15,000. And so that number alone is more than the people that are stationed in Afghanistan. So when you have this being a very real thing. Taxpayer dollars going to send all these troops and have them be there for what they say are just reinforcement purposes. They're not there to carry out law. They're not there to do anything except for help the Border Patrol. But we know that that's not necessarily how it works. And we know that there's been several cases where the Border Patrol themselves have done things to harm immigrants. And there was that case, there was this 20-year-old woman who was passing through the border and a Border Patrol agent just shot her point blank in the head. These things are happening, right? Wow. And so when you have 15,000 troops, this whole idea they're sending all these kids to the border where I'm from, and then having Trump say earlier this week about how, if they throw rocks, that's considered a firearm, and so then we can fire back. It's like, no, that's not at all how we should be operating, because you're essentially allowing people to carry out mass murder because you know that's what's going to happen. And I doubt there was this picture, I think somebody with the Washington Post, it was like the staff photographer. She sent a picture and she said, here's this 4-year-old girl in the caravan who just stopped walking because she couldn't do it anymore. And you can see in her face, she's totally exasperated. Like, that's the thing that's scaring me the most. This, like, legitimately a humanitarian crisis where you have thousands of people coming here, a lot of them children. And the only thing that a lot of people in this country, especially those who are Trump supporters, see is people who are going to rape me, kill me, and steal my jobs. There was a woman.
That's what Trump says.
Yeah, there was a woman who was
literally
quoted,
last night. Bad guys coming, and they're going to destroy America.
So there was a woman who was quoted in the New York Times. I think she's like from Minnesota. This elderly woman, and she said that she was most afraid because they were going to do something to harm her. That the caravan, that somebody from the caravan was going to make its way, which is still thousands of miles away from even reaching the U.S. border, was going to make its way towards Minnesota, find her, and just do something to completely alter her life. And a lot of people feel that way. So my thing that's scaring me the most is this is all taking place, or ground zero now for much of what's the conversation is in my hometown. Or just, I consider, I mean, when you're from the border, it's all home. So when that now becomes the place that everybody's focused on, and everybody wants to say all the bad people live there, all the bad people, the crime and the drugs and the killings and the murders, that it's all happening in the border, it's not. And it's hard to not take that personally because that's the only place I ever knew to grow up in. And to know that there's going to be boots on the ground there very soon, and we have no idea, considering you have someone like Kristen Nielsen, who's in charge of the Department of Homeland Security, who says, well, we don't have an intention to shoot people who come with the caravan, but you never know. You have to defend yourself. That's the kind of leadership that's being used. It's all very dangerous and
Leah,
scary.
You're very pro-Trump, very anti-caravan. So why don't you take this the other side of this issue?
Yeah, I'm glad you guys knew that about me before I came in.
Right. So, when you're watching this, I mean, like, to me as arguably a comedian, I don't feel like a comedian anymore, but when I was a full-time comedian, but even I try to make some humor about this, like when he was talking about Middle Easterners. Trump last week said Middle Easterners are going to sneak in.
Oh yeah.
In this, and I'm Middle Eastern heritage. I'm like, my cousins won't walk a half a block for an Uber. Like the idea that they're going to fly from the Middle East to Guatemala and then march for 2 months, and like, oh, this is a great deal, my friend. Like, how about I fly to JFK? How about that? Then I walk off the plane. That's not going to happen.
Oh,
but. And it doesn't have to be comedic. Even though you're comedic,
but you want me to take the pro-Trump side?
No.
You're like, wait a second.
No, what is your reaction?
I should have gotten an email about that earlier.
Sorry, I did. No. What is your reaction to what we're seeing with this ginning up of fear and bigotry and hatred, in the same within days of a horrific terrorist attack at a temple in
even
Pittsburgh, and his own bomber that was in his name sending out bombs? Can it be any more irresponsible?
I'd like to
pass.
No, I remember when Fox News started being whatever not news it is.
Right.
And I remember my grandparents on my mother's side, who, we never got along politically, but it became irrational, and we're like, what's this thing that's happening? And then, you watched it happen where they would take things as facts and they would get for a while, my grandmother was really upset about some kind of lighting because somebody on Fox had mentioned that it would like turn you gay. I don't even know.
A gay light?
Yeah, it was like a gay light, and she knew that I had it because I was a vegetarian. It was, the information. And I just watched this, and then you get, now you have this whole group of people that have not facts, but are so wound up from the fear.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're like, if you guys want to be afraid of something, just pull up an app and see how many sex predators are on your own block. These people are multiple countries away. Someone next door has probably murdered people. Why didn't you just start with a little local fear? You know what I mean? It's just like, focus over here, focus on those people.
What I would like to see is that, the Trumpers want to put, if someone's undocumented, they want to put in the article. You know what I want? Every crime story, you have to put native born if they're native born or undocumented, because 98% of the stories would be native, like the bomber, native born bomber.
I think it would be 99%.
It would be something like 99%. There'd be some immigrants here and there, not undocumented, but it'd be native born Robert Bowers went into a synagogue and killed people. Why not? And they get upset. Why? I go, you want the other side. Why not? We just put native born. So we all know. And then people go like, oh my God, these people born here are horrible. That's what I want people to get a sense. Like, who's really killing people? People born here.
Somebody wrote the widower of I believe the director or the woman who was behind Waitress, the film. Mm-hmm. He came out with an article on Medium where he was talking about, because eventually they found out that his wife was killed by an undocumented immigrant here in New York City. And he said, look, this one person I will forever hold accountable for what he did to my family, what he did for with my daughter, with my wife, the fact that she's no longer here, that everything has just changed because of this one undocumented immigrant. And then he goes on to say, look, I hate the rhetoric that Donald Trump is using to cast this wide net and saying that every person who has ever come here, and he himself lists out, like somebody who's genuinely affected by this, he says, we cannot paint with the broad brush that Trump continues to use by saying that every undocumented immigrant is going to be this animal, this criminal, this rapist, this murderer who's just going to completely upend all of our lives. He says that's not true. So why are we going to continue? And he says, as somebody who actively has had this happen to him, why are we going to allow someone to use this sort of hateful rhetoric to change our perception of they're really regular people? They just aren't from here. And they're trying to flee as best as they can.
I feel like we've lost so much humanity in, with the shootings and then, people who are victims, regardless of who perpetrated it, of talking about what these people are going through. And, we are a country where so many resources and so many great minds. And it's like, why don't we try to fix the problem and be like, let's talk about violence. That we are a country of immigrants. How can we? But it's like this yelling and this fear tactics, and now we can't even discuss an issue to try to actually work towards how could we figure this out as a group.
There's nothing productive in the conversation.
Yeah.
There's nothing productive in the conversation. And Donald Trump, I bet if you polled Fox News viewers, where is his caravan? They would tell you they're in their backyard. Like forget the border, but they would at least say they're at the border when they are literally 1,000 miles away. And they travel 15 to 20 miles a day on good days. They are 2 months away from our border. But you would not know that because we are 4 days from a midterm. Yeah. So that's the more dangerous thing. And I'm really worried about, are people going to start attacking immigrants in this country? Because that already happened in August 2015. I wrote about it recently about how if Trump was an Islamic cleric who was giving fiery sermons and his supporters were going out attacking those very targets he was demonizing, Donald Trump would want that cleric in jail. Yeah. But Trump has done this numerous times. And people in August 2015, 2 guys who were Trump supporters beat up a Mexican homeless guy and said, Trump is right. They shouldn't be here. And the list goes on of numerous Trumpers who have plotted to kill Muslims, that big bomber, the numerous hate crimes by self-professed Trump supporters against Muslims and Jews. And there's he's not responsible. There's a point where you got to say, you know what, you're radicalizing people just like a radical cleric is, and there should be at least surveillance of you. Yeah. I mean more in a criminal way. That's my view. That's all the time we have. No, I'm kidding.
Now you take the Trump side.
So I would say the thing that goes part of the conversation is a lot of people think that the people in the caravan specifically are all Mexican. They're not.
No, not
They're
at all.
Honduran.
They're just coming to Mexico. These got to Mexico.
But even when you have someone like Kirstjen Nielsen, again, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, when she describes them all as Mexican, it continues on with this narrative that people on the right and anybody who is xenophobic will say, where anybody who's Latino is Mexican automatically. And so now Mexican equates immigrant all the time. Mexican equates MS-13. Anything that is just somebody who has a last name of Rodriguez, Garcia, Gonzalez, like anybody like that, you're Mexican, you don't belong in this country. And so it's not even just Trump. It's everybody who falls under Trump, who takes orders from Trump and just wants to be seen, favorably by the king. And they will use the same sort of talking points that he uses because they know that it works well for the people they need it to work well for.
It's always also people, and I mean, I'm sure this has been brought up, but it's like people who are afraid, who are like, they're coming here. And like you were saying with Minnesota, nobody's going there. Like literally nobody's going there. And all the people in the cities where people actually end up going, we're fine. We're great with it.
Welcome.
So, worry about like things that you should worry about in small towns, like a climate change or,
I think
jobs.
Also, I think if you've made it from Honduras to Minnesota, you should get a green card. I mean, like you've
You
earned it.
It's like the marathon
If
times
you
25.
somehow,
it's
the amazing green card race. If you've made it somehow,
also that person
to Minnesota, you deserve an award, maybe even citizenship, because that's a long way to go, and it's really cold up there. And so, all right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back more with our friends Leah and Xorje Olivares to talk more about some other issues, like some lighter ones, like Alec Baldwin was arrested today, and they did the perp walk. They've watched the perp walk on Fox News 50 times because they're so gleeful that Alec Baldwin was arrested. I'm not kidding. It's playing in a loop. You didn't see it. When you were talking to me, it was there again. I'm not even kidding around.
It.
So we'll come back.
He looks like he's gotten really chiseled in the chin, though.
Alec Baldwin?
Yeah.
In the walk? Maybe his time in prison. You think he helped him?
He
worked out a lot.
20 seconds. He was in there. It's really
he went to the yard. He's working out.
Chin.
Let's take a break. Come back with more of the Dino Vidal Show after this. Every day between now and Election Day, ask yourself, what am I doing to help the resistance win? The stakes are so high, we cannot take off a single day.
The Dino Vidal Show.
Your entire week's exhausting news broken down in one hilarious hour. What Just Happened is now live with Dean Obeidallah.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live Friday, November 2nd here. We're standing our ground. We got to win on Tuesday, folks. I can't, I tell people on my show, this is Judgment Day. It's not election day. It's Judgment Day for our nation and the values that we believe, that we subscribe to, that we hold dearly versus Trump's values, which is truly about celebrating cruelty, about demonizing people for their religion, their ethnic status, their ethnicity, their immigration status, wanting to ban transgender Americans. I mean, at least it's stark contrast. It's no longer Republican light with Democrats. This is like night and day, dark, good and bad, evil. There, let's talk Alec Baldwin.
Lord of the Rings.
Ethnic status sounds like the coolest.
This is Lord of the
ever.
Rings stuff right here.
Why can't ethnicity be fluid, right?
Yeah. It could be.
So, Alec Baldwin, folks, if you don't know, got arrested today in New York for fighting over a parking spot. Actually got arrested and was taken to the station and released, and Fox News is gleeful, showing him over and over and over. Could this be delightful foreshadowing of that Trump? Alec plays Trump. Could it be method acting? Alec got arrested on purpose because he knows Trump will, and he's going to play Trump in the future on SNL.
I love the way you're looking at it.
I'm looking at any way possible to make me feel better. I mean, does it just trying to help Daryl Hammond get on air more on SNL?
I still think Daryl's Trump impression is far better than Alex.
It's different. It's completely, I worked there when Daryl was doing Trump.
Oh, that's right.
And Daryl's Trump is more like Trump. Alex is like a grotesque character.
Yeah, I feel like Alex
ridiculous.
has a comment on it in it.
Right.
Yeah. I will forever say that one of my favorite things that I know about Dean is that Dean is an extra in the Natalie Portman rap video, which was the first SNL digital short where she's like rapping about crazy cool things.
About me and Brian Tucker and some other people. I don't know if you know Brian or not. You don't know Brian? He used to stand up, but he's a head writer at SNL now, co-writer for a while. Co-head writer. But what about Trump? Does he pardon Baldwin? What do you think? Anything?
I think Baldwin's going to be fine.
What?
You just buy your way out of that one.
So what about the idea of, does SNL going to get any pressure for responsibility? The guy gets in a fight over a parking spot, and you're going to have him on maybe tomorrow. I mean, there's a live show.
I feel like is that less irresponsible than the person he's impersonating?
That's not the standard.
He's just in character. He's like, I'm just in character. Mm-hmm. Also, he's punched a lot of people. It's not like
Alec.
Yeah,
he has some anger issues.
But also, have you tried to park in New York? Oh, you're crazy. I need to have seen this situation.
But let's stop back for a second. Alec Baldwin is a celebrity. He's got a TV show.
He's parking his own car.
But he's got a TV show on a network on ABC, and he does SNL, and he's a famous person. What would it take for him to get in a fight? What goes through his mind where he goes, I'm going to punch this guy, as opposed to, I'm Alec Baldwin, I'm a multimillionaire, I'm a celebrity.
Why am I driving my own car?
Where's my driver? Second, I'm just going to walk away from this person. Like, why engage that person?
But don't you think, just like every one of us who's involved in thinking about politics in the nitty gritty of it, and we just need some sort of escape, the guy plays the man that we all hate.
Right.
And that has essentially consumed him, because I'm assuming when you think about it all the time, and you don't think so?
Did you hear the way he yelled at his daughter years ago on that famous message? I should have had the audio of it.
I don't know why I always end up
taking
taking the people's side who are yelling. I'll be like, sometimes people just get pushed really far.
I mean, sometimes people have a really shitty day. Sorry. Do you cuss on the show?
Have you met his daughter? I mean, come on. That was actually nice what he did. I don't know his daughter. No, I'm kidding about that. But no, I'm just amazed that
he's never been a person that people are like, oh, very mild-mannered.
But I don't understand. Like, there are other people in the world who, at least, especially in this country, who also deserve an ABC talk show and also deserve a podcast.
Have you been in entertainment? I mean, this is this is across the board.
But how is it that somebody who is very problematic I guess, case in point, Trump.
Because he actually at one time lost a show on MSNBC for anti-LGBT comments.
Yeah,
remember
he said
that?
something very...
Some slurs to a reporter.
I just saw him in that movie, Something's Gotta Give.
And
I do like that.
It was a great movie.
It's Complicated.
It was delightful.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, I mean,
so we should remember Alec as that.
Yes.
I'm the worst.
Not the real world Alec. The one in the movie that was likable and
like,
nice.
that was a great movie.
And he was sensitive. Hunt for Red October. He was great. I mean, if I can define.
Are we going to lose these movies?
And The Departed. He's pretty funny in the movie.
Well, today Donald Trump merged pop culture with his sanctions. I don't know if you guys. I sent you the tweet. This is not a joke. Donald Trump tweeted a parody of Game of
Oh, the
Thrones.
Game of
Instead of
Thrones.
winter is coming, he said sanctions are coming, using all Game
The
of Thrones font, and has a date November 5th. And I, of course, tweeted that his viewers are confused by Game of Thrones. They're confused by Duck Dynasty. The storylines in that are too tight, and they're more of a Honey Boo Boo crowd. But what is this? Who Game of Thrones to do this parody? Like where? This is the president, the White House, and someone said, "Hey, I think this would be a nice way for you to get the message out there. What's going on? This is where we are."
Do you think Game of Thrones people will sue them for using their font?
No, you can do parody. That's allowed. It's parody in a way.
I feel like they have that one gay in social that's like, I think this will work well because they know how memes work. Memes are kind of the way a lot of digital agencies are working.
Yeah.
They know that people will respond well to memes, and then there will be a BuzzFeed article about,
People are gonna
did you
talk
see
about
the
it.
Game of
no
Just
one
like
Thrones?
really
we are
talked
right
about
now.
it. You know, it's funny. We talk about no one like. Do you guys watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I don't.
So you don't?
Mm-mm. I'm
Well,
the only one in the
I
world.
mean, come on.
What character? What do you think he would be if he was in Game of Thrones?
I so firmly put him in Lord of the Rings that
You do? I think maybe a Lannister, maybe Littlefinger, just for the name. There's a character Littlefinger. 'cause
no,
he's small hands.
Yeah, but he
And runs a
doesn't.
brothel, and Trump runs a
Littlefinger
brothel.
is-
That's funny.
Littlefinger though is cunning and planning and.
I think Trump is more cunning. I think Donald Trump.
but he's loud.
What do you think he is, Donald Trump? Stupid, idiot.
I don't think he's stupid. Obviously not. But Littlefinger is very quiet and working behind the scenes.
True, and Trump is right in your face type of thing. I think to me, Donald Trump, I describe him to people now as diabolical and sinister and un-American. I mean, that's the Donald Trump I picture, not the one from The Apprentice. Like if you
Definitely
Alec
not the
Baldwin
one from Home Alone. I'll tell you
No,
that much.
right.
It's not helping any kids in Lost in New York.
There was I can't remember the name of the movie. It was some.
I think he's far dumber than we're allowing ourselves to think.
I think he understands his base very well. I think he understands human beings well.
I think he understands people in his base and how to rile them up.
But I think somebody who refuses to get briefings that are longer than a certain amount of pages, somebody who, instead of being at 8 meetings by 10 a.m., has already sent out 8 tweets that are completely nothing to do with what's going on in the world. And if they are, they're very much attacking either a specific group of people or Democrats. I honestly feel like it's John Kelly and Mike Pence and maybe one other person who's essentially pulling the puppet strings and saying this, that, say this, say that. Because a lot of what he says isn't really substantive. It's just repetitive.
Right.
And so when you use that device
But
in
that's
your
a
favor,
skill.
but it is a skill. But the thing is, when you are somebody who's been in front of a camera for so long, you kind of know the drill, right? You know what your talking points need to be, and you know how to bring those talking points up to get your message across.
Right.
So he is known for 30 years or however many years he's been in mass media, that if you say something and if you say it a certain way, people will respond because they've responded to a celebrity this entire time. So everything he says, no SAT words, no big words. It's essentially the most minimal vocabulary said over and over and over again. And it plays to the people that essentially talk
like
the
it.
same way.
Yeah. Anything?
I was going to say he definitely would have gotten into McGill, but I
All right, let's take a break. I want to talk about pressing issue Kanye West leaving politics this week, who was part of the Trump circle for a short time and now is leaving it. So we'll take a back.
Oh, we're going to talk about it not now?
We're gonna,
'Cause I have a
I have
thought
3
on that.
breaks. No, keep the thought. I want you to have a thought on it. It's very good. And that's
Hold
what
it.
the show's about. Keep that thought. Keep it inside. And then we're going to come back and talk to Lisa D'Alessandro Bonnema.
Oh my God, with the
and
Lisa.
Jorge Olivares. No,
Wow.
I'm trying to make her more Italian because are you 100% Italian?
No.
Half?
Yeah.
I'm half Italian.
Italian and Dutch.
What?
Well,
That's weird.
why is that weird?
I don't know because my family's Mediterranean at least, half Palestinian, half Sicilian. That's the way it should be. That's the way everyone
Everybody
should
in my
be.
family
So
likes
funny.
cheese. What do you think about that?
Hey.
You got the
I'm
Italians with their
lactose intolerant. That's not
mozzarella,
possible.
and then you got the Dutch people with their cheese wheels.
So that the cheese brought them together.
The cheese brought them
Oh,
together.
that's sweet.
And your family, 100%?
So I did for
Oh,
John
no.
Fugelsang's show. We did the 23andMe
You did?
test.
You don't care that someone has your DNA now?
Okay, well now that's freaking
gonna
me
put
out.
you
that
at a
all
crime
that-
scene?
Yeah, that all of my information is out there.
I would never.
That's what Hen, my girlfriend, always says. She goes like,
Even
they're
my
gonna have my
mother
DNA.
was
I'm
like,
like,
"Don't do
who? I'm like, what? Why are you obsessed about this? Like, but go ahead. What
No, between the DNA and between my Google Home, probably listening to me at all times.
Right.
I'm done.
What
for.
did you come back as?
So I came
he
back
came
as
back
100% Jorge.
his DNA is owned.
It does say that. It says 23andMe. It says 100% Jorge. I was like, that's cool. I'm a third Iberian.
What? Spanish.
A third Native American.
That would make sense.
And pretty much 99% of the Native American in me is all Mexico. With a little bit of Guatemalan.
So you're related
I'm a part of the caravan.
Related to Liz Warren in any way?
A
She's-
little bit.
She's like Maine.
They have Native Americans up there.
Yeah, Passamaquoddy.
She's.
I am from the town of Paramus, New Jersey, which actually is an Indian Native American word. It's Paramos, which means wild turkey. Like all in North Jersey, where
Turkeys
I'm from.
are aggressive. Side note.
Okay.
What an
and
aggressive
make
bird.
them a wild turkey.
Even
and
worse.
boom, that's where we had so many shopping malls. I have no idea what's going on right now. Let's take a break and come back with more of the D.W. Dollar Show. And what the hell has just happened when on our segment, our weekly, we're going to play our game, Guess Who Said It? I'm going to read you quotes
like
from the
this.
week.
But I get to say my thing about
Kanye.
Plugging something?
Kanye West.
We're going to come back and talk about Kanye
Oh, and
first.
turkeys. Can I say something really quick?
Of course.
This is what you said about what Donald Trump, because you were saying his intelligence. I think that's one of his main intelligence is that he doesn't give a fuck, right? He just plows through. And that's really works well because other people are like, oh, maybe I should fix that. And he's like, no, I don't care.
He there's never a mistake made, never backtracks. Just
No.
keep going, double down, triple down. Boom. All right. Break time. Be right back. November 6, 2018 isn't just election day. It is judgment day for progressives and our vision of this country.
Don't go anywhere. This is the Dean Obadala Show on SiriusXM Progress 127.
listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dean Obidala.
And welcome back, Dean Obidala. My imaging says I'm your favorite host. How do you like that?
I thought it said one of your favorite hosts.
Your top four. That would be actually funny. Your top four favorite hosts, Dean Obidala. Two of my favorite people here, Xorje Olivares, Leah Bonnema, not to be confused with Lisa D'Alessandro Bonnema.
Or even Bonnema.
I knew a guy, Joe Bonanno. Any connection to Joe Bonanno?
No.
Very Italian guy.
No.
Every Italian. Are you from a big Italian family, by the way? A lot of Italians?
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you're related to people. There's a lot of
Italians.
Italians.
Really? Your family, do you have like 8 uncles and aunts? Like that's what I had on my mom's side. It was like big Italian.
There's a lot. Nobody talks to me. I'm a Democrat.
All right, let's talk Kanye West. Kanye West this week tweeted, "My eyes are now wide open and now realize I've been used to spread messages I don't believe in. I am distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative!" 3 times. Leah?
I just thought it was funny that all of these articles said Kanye West leaves politics. And you're like, oh, was he in politics? You know what I mean? I Google my symptoms. Am I a doctor? Am I leaving the medical field? That's such, true. You know what I mean? Was anybody like, yeah, I'm getting all of my information from that Kanye West fellow because he is in politics.
Yeah.
Do you think Kanye is playing us with this? Is the whole thing been a game? Do you think you'll read this tweet, it sounds like someone, maybe a PR person wrote it, someone trying to help his career wrote it. Was Kanye struggling with some real issues that finally he's back taking getting whatever help he needs?
Yeah, I think
Xorje?
Somebody said this, I believe somebody said this when they were on my show, and I don't want to, I'm trying to give them credit because...
How dare you plug your show on my show? This is unreal, even though we're on the same channel, right?
But this idea that we somehow wanted to look towards Kanye to be this political genius just because he's a creative genius. That, yes, the guy can put out a hit record and the guy can produce amazing music. And for us to think, well, I definitely want to know what he thinks about the caravan. I want to know what he thinks about
did anybody think
13th
that?
Amendment. But because people's reaction to his involvement in politics, I think everyone's like, how could you say that? How could you do that? But why do you care? Why does it matter if he's saying all these things? Because it's not like a lot of people, the same thing with Taylor Swift, right? Everybody was so upset because Taylor Swift hadn't said anything.
Right. And then said something about Tennessee
and then
race.
said something. So I understand the perspective of, if you know that adding your voice to the chorus of people who are saying Trump is bad, this is what we need to be doing, I understand that perspective. But like looking to Kanye or Taylor for some sort of punditry that they're not qualified to give, I think is where culture itself is in the wrong.
Well, I do think there's a lot of artists who actually have opinions, and also Taylor doing that got a lot of people aware who wasn't aware. I think with Kanye, what was so shocking is that when he did the whole George Bush hates black people,
right.
And that's when it started.
Like, he's a genius.
Yeah, they were like, yes, good for him for speaking out, and then to have really done such a 180 is what shocked people so much, because you're like, what happened to George Bush hates black people with that, red hat?
Well, I don't know where Kanye's going to go. I wish him well as a human being and as a creative person. And when you watch that exchange with Donald Trump when he sat at the desk there, something was going on. You're like, what is this?
But I feel like, but now I feel because he stepped in it, the fan base, like his fan base will never be the same.
It'll be changed. I agree.
So he easily has lost about half his fan base because everybody who has commented on Twitter or whatever he's done something, it's immediately the same thing. Why do we care about Kanye now? Kanye's canceled. Kanye this, Kanye that. And that's sad because going back to the idea of somebody who has this very creative mind, you want to celebrate someone who does well at what they do. But if they have all sorts of baggage along with it, then it makes it harder for that to happen.
It's hard. I'm losing so many great songs on my iPod. First, it was Kid Rock, and
you mean Ba with the Ba's?
Yeah, that's a great album. I don't care what anybody says. And
it was
then now I have to.
Okay, let's play our game within the. It's a game within the segment within a show. Blah 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 blah. Here we go. It's like Inception. Here we go. Let's play we have an announcement.
I hope we have the same outfits.
Now it's time for America's newest game show sensation. Guess who said it?
That's right. Game show sensation. We keep saying it, hoping it catches on. Guess who said it? It's a very easy game. Leah and Xorje, I simply ask, Ollie will give you options. I'm going to read you a quote from this week's news, give you 4 options, and then you can fight it out. There's no prizes. There's nothing. I just feel better when you get them wrong. Just a little bit.
No, just to be clear, these are all in English, right?
These are no, they're in Arabic actually.
Okay.
I hablo español.
Oh, perfect.
I can't speak Spanish. Stop it.
¿Y por qué
All right,
no?
let's focus. Okay.
Está bueno.
I will
How
tell
can you not
this.
speak Spanish?
I speak a little Spanish. Everyone speaks a little Spanish, don't you? Everyone in New York.
I mean, I speak a lot of Spanish.
You speak Spanish fluently. Don't ruin my game. How do you say guess who said it in Spanish?
Guess who said it? Okay, my Spanish isn't that good.
What?
¿Quién lo dice?
¿Quién le ha dicho?
How do you say it?
Or, I mean, I feel like that's more.
¿Quién le había dicho?
You're looking at me like I would know. You can say anything.
I know. I'll call my dad. My dad's a Spanish teacher.
You could say El niño está bajo el avión, and I'd be like, that
Oh my
sounds-
God.
Exactly, the boy is under the plane because I got the Rosetta Stone. Exactly, I've memorized that expression.
Duolingo says
El
something like...
niño está bajo el avión.
It makes like Duolingo says El cangrejo bebe leche, which is the crab drinks milk.
The crab.
But
Why?
that's incorrect.
It makes no sense. Why was a crab?
Okay,
drinking milk?
this is no. I do have Rosetta Stone, and that is one expression I learned from it. And I do a whole joke about it because it really is how useless the Rosetta Stone is. This segment brought to you by Rosetta Stone. If you're going to learn another language for $400, you want to waste it, call Rosetta Stone. All right,
Or
stop.
just sleep with somebody from that country.
That would be
point.
cheap. All right, so
That's how I've
here
learned a
comes
lot of
here comes the thing, and it has to do with Mexico.
Okay.
I will tell you this. Now this one's too easy. You guys already know the
Well,
answer.
then don't give us the 4. We'll have to guess.
No, you'll. All right, I'll just tell. I will tell you this: anyone throwing stones, rocks, like they did to Mexico, and the Mexican military police will be. They badly hurt the police and soldiers of Mexico. We will consider that a firearm. I think we all know said that one. It's too easy.
Antonio
Like-
Banderas.
Exactly. There's a Banderas. All right, here's another one. Do not associate me with that shooter. I'm bringing it to life. This that's the way it was said. Do not associate
close
me
my
with
eyes
that
and hear it.
shooter. I'll do it again. Do not associate me with that shooter. I'm doing 3-line reads. Was it A, Trump, B, Tucker Carlson, C, David Duke, D, Congressman Stephen King?
Congressman Stephen King or writer
That's
Stephen
I had
King?
to say Congressman because I knew you would have went with the guy, the author. So
Was it Tucker Carlson?
Trump? Was it Tucker Carlson? Was it John Grissom? Or was it Congressman Stephen King? Just throwing in other authors there that were in. Who said, do not associate me with that shooter? And the shooter, of course, was the Pittsburgh Tree of Life terrorist, who's not a shooter, it's a terrorist and should be called a terrorist, but that's a different story.
Yes.
Just America doesn't like to call white people terrorists. That's a whole different issue.
I'll go with Taco Tucker.
Did you say Taco Tucker?
Yeah, there was this whole thing where he said that tacos are an American food, and because he's from the
did.
border,
Right.
we can't say that tacos
He's one of the
belong
most,
to...
I call him Tucker Klansman every night on my show. That's what his name is. Leah, do you have a guess? Trump, Tucker Klansman, David Duke, or Stephen King, the congressman, not the author.
I'm going to go David Duke.
Wrong, sir. You got double wrong.
I'm going to go Stephen King.
You were right. It was Stephen King. But you
But then
can't
I just
guess
felt like
twice
I
'cause
had
there's
to
only
do-
All right, here we go.
I felt like I couldn't say it because I'd already said Stephen King from Maine. I should have just trusted my instincts. It's another thing my therapist
Okay, you got a
told
few
me.
more. You can go with your instincts. Here we go. Right, this is a big one here. There's no question that President Trump is the most transparent, honest, forthright president we've ever had. A, Sean Hannity. B, Fox News' Harlan Hill. C, a person in a mental asylum. D, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
E, all of the above.
E, all of the above.
I think all
That
of the
wasn't
above on
option.
that
That
one.
was Sarah.
You can go with Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Wrong.
I'm going to go with a person in a mental asylum.
That would have been right, but that's not right. Harlan Hill, who's a political consultant, and he was on Fox News, literally said, I'll read it back for everyone. He literally said with a straight face, there's no question that President Trump is the most transparent, honest, forthright president we've ever had. That is something like out of Saddam Hussein's spokesperson during the time of the first Iraq and second Iraq war. Like, that's just insanity. And when we come out, well, when we finish this, we're going to play last night Stephen Colbert, who fact-checking Chris Wallace on air about some of the bullshit. All right, here we go.
Harlan Coben, great author. New shows on Netflix. I'm
What
going to
show?
relate everything back to authors now to just try to add a little
I'm
levity.
here today because of the men. Wait, let me do this again. I'm going to read this in character.
Okay, let me
I
close my
can't-
eyes.
No, I can't do the voice.
Yeah, you can.
Just pretend a really good voice.
Just do it.
I'm here today because of the men and because of the women who were lynched, who were humiliated, and who were discriminated against, or who were suppressed, and who were oppressed for the right for the equality at the polls. And I want you to know their blood is seeped into my DNA, and I refuse to let their sacrifices be in vain. Was that A, Elizabeth Warren, B, Obama, C, Oprah Winfrey, D, me, Dean Obadala?
See, Oprah.
It's totally Oprah.
That was too easy. All right, last thing. I have not called the president a racist, but there are racists in his sympathizers who believe that he may be, which is why they go to his aid. Was that A, Jeff Flake, B, Hillary Clinton, C, Joe Biden, D, Andrew Gillum?
D.
I feel like it has to be Gillum because he made that comment about DeSantis.
He did, and he ripped off himself, plagiarized himself.
Yeah.
You guys were very good, actually. You got 3 out of 4 right, and the other one was a gimme. So that's 4 out of 5. But there's no real prize. I can't remember who's been. You guys were actually
There's
very
no
good.
real prize? Might have told it up top, then we wouldn't have.
All right. Well, we have. All right, we're going to chat a little more. Let's here. This is talk about fact checking.
We can take the pistachios home.
Yeah.
No, you can have all the snacks you want.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here is last night on Colbert. Chris Wallace being fact checked by Colbert to his face. It's priceless. Clip number 4, please, Lauren.
The idea that 3 or 5 or 7,000 people from another country can just walk up to our border, knock on the door and say, we want in. We want to take jobs here. We want to work here. No, a country does need to have borders, and there does need to be some kind of system that determines whether or not people are allowed in the country or not. I mean, do you believe in open borders?
No, we don't have an open border. There is a system, and 3,000 to 5,000 people will not make it here. This has happened many times before, and they never do, and you know that. And you know that there is a system in place, and there is a legal system, and we have laws that allow asylum.
All right.
So I believe in the law. Do you believe in the law, Chris Wallace?
Yeah, sure, I believe in the law.
Well, I accept your apology then. I accept your apology.
And he fact checked them later, really, on statistics. But it brings us to another article on the Washington Post today. That as of today, folks, if you're keeping score at home, Donald Trump has made 6,420 false or misleading claims over the 649 days he's been in the office. And my question to you is, does anybody care?
I think of his base, no. I think people on the left, especially those who are involved in the progressive movement, care because that is what they're using to motivate them to do what they do to get people out to vote, to get people registered, and to lead all the movements that they need to be leading, lead all the marches that they need to be leading. I think that's what's motivated me to be a little more angry. And
Leah, what do you think? Is the truth important anymore? Does it matter? His base doesn't care. But for our own sanity, should we continue to call out his lies all the time? Because we can't allow a complete normalization.
As the pro-Trump voice on
Did you hear that? Yes.
What happened? Did you gasp?
No, I thought my stomach made a noise. My body was revolting.
No, but do you think? Look, we know it's not going to
The
move.
truth is always
It's not going to
important.
move his
End
base.
of story.
It's not going to move his base when we call out his lies. But for our own sanity and for the sake of, if you don't do that, it really normalizes lies and just makes lying fine as if it's the truth. We have to still call it out all the time.
I think it's very important because also as a reminder to be like, oh, I'm not crazy. Like this is all false.
Yeah.
This is false information. And I actually had during the Kavanaugh hearings, I know this is a long, it's actually not that long, but I grew up in a very honest family. My parents are both incredibly honest. And as a child, it's not like your favorite thing to have people be very honest with you. And I didn't, on many occasions, I didn't love it. And then when I was watching these lies, even if you didn't believe her, just him lying, making things up on, and you'd be like, oh, honesty is very important. And I know, like, when I ask my dad or my mom something, I will always get a factual, and like people's word and information they give out is how we trust other people, and it should be the baseline for especially people who are judges or in our government,
Right.
and it's so important.
Quick thing.
Two of the things that are most difficult now is the fact that we exist in this TLDR culture, and so people are so fast to retweet something without reading it.
Right.
They don't know what all the facts are to support the claim that's in what they're
Sure.
retweeting. The other thing is, now that we exist in this paywall media society, nobody, as soon as you see, 0 free articles left, or if you pay this and this, there's a good portion of this population that's not reading the stories
Right.
that need to be read
All right, we
because
got to
it
go
has
to
all the
break
stuff they need
because
to know.
Lauren's telling me it's not fake news that we're running out of time. So let's take a quick break. Come right back.
Dean
So come
Obadala Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
Your entire week's exhausted news broken down into one hilarious hour. What Just Happened is now live with Dean Obeidallah.
Welcome back, my friends. We're live right here, Friday, November 2nd. It's the last week. And folks, I hope this weekend, make some phone calls, canvass. If you can have early voting, some states it ends. Get ready for Tuesday. But before we go, Leah and Xorje, you got your show tomorrow. What's coming up for you, Leah?
I'm doing a show with actually Negin Farsad and Ophira Eisenberg on Election Day, November 6th, as part of the New York Comedy Festival. It's at New York Comedy Club East 4th location, and it's called Average Women with Average Rage. And we will be doing long sets, and in between, we're going to update people on the polls, what's going on. So
it's election night.
Yeah, if you want to join us on election night as a place to be with people,
right?
A little levity and a little rage and some jokes, please
Negin
come.
has slightly more than average rage. I know. 30 seconds.
I know, but that's the joke.
So affirmative reaction tomorrow at noon on this very channel. I'll be joined by Garrett Conley, who is the author of Boy Erased, which just came out as a movie. Released today. And panelists Jamila King and Jess Tom. And on Tuesday, election night, I will be in El Paso
and you'll be checking in. We'll be here. I'll be here with Michelangelo. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you both very much for coming in. Have a great weekend. Monday, day before the election. Get ready. Have a great night.